Hi, my name is Una Damsik-Bistrovoda, and here at Laurier Brantford, I'm a lab coordinator for the health studies. From an instructor perspective, teaching in a laboratory is very different from teaching in a traditional classroom. And the difference is in preparation. There is a lot more preparing for the laboratory in terms of ordering supplies, making solutions, preparing the lab, setting up the proper equipment for the students to work in a lab, or preparing the models if they are working in the anatomy or the physiology labs. It also involves preparing laboratory manuscripts and also writing the protocols, and also thinking about safety. I think the laboratory instructor has to think a lot more about the safety than somebody that is teaching in a traditional classroom. Finally, one more thing that lab instructor has to somewhat a little bit prepare for is before every lab, we have a small pre-laboratory talk, and through this talk we really try to convey to students what the expectations are for the lab, and also to give them a little bit of tips and hints of how to perform a lab a little bit better. The laboratory exercises, they are meant to be as an extension of all the content that student learns in the lab. So therefore, I try to really offer the exercises that will strengthen and solidify the knowledge that they learn in the lecture. And hopefully the labs will allow the students to try the experiments on their own, and for them through that to really appreciate the empirical work that happens during the scientific discoveries. It's a great opportunity for the students to also make their own observations. It allows them to really experience and explain the sources of error that can occur during the lab. It also allows them to accumulate their own data and then later on really create the argument according to the data that they get in the lab. As an instructor, I try to bring a lot of positive energy into the lab in order to support their learning. And with this positive energy, I really try to also be approachable to the students. So they're free to ask me of any questions that they may have, being that it's laboratory related, methodology related, or really about the underlying concepts of the lab. A lot of our students, they come from different educational backgrounds. So I really try to give them a lot of one-to-one learning experiences in order to facilitate the learning a little bit and then bridge any gaps that they have. I'm a very hands-on instructor, and I really try to support student learning by demonstrating how the certain experiments should be performed before the lab, and hopefully that helps the students with doing the labs more efficiently. I also try to support their learning through trying to get them to think a little bit more investigatively and to ask investigative questions. And I certainly do this by trying to go through the lab and ask them these questions. A lot of times students come up with these critical questions on their own, and hopefully through that they're able to develop the critical thinking that is absolutely necessary. And also, last but not the least, we try to support student learning by getting the students to work in pairs or in groups. And this really allows the students to work in collaboration with one another and helps them develop the teamwork skills, and also teaches them how to communicate effectively when they're in the group.